Good morning. Good morning. Has hosted an event called the Mayor on Earth. Sounds good, right? Until you understand that they took the theme from Barnum and Bailey and went seriously. That's seriously the theme of the mayoral. So people projected that mayor. You get a black about when you think about the circus. Animals, clowns, crazy tents. For 20 years now, they've been hosting the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, right? The Mayor's Prayer Breakfast is a breakfast that came into being after 9/11. What's more honorable than prayer? Well, now, this year, it's become the community. You could say that. But think about it, y'all. This thing has been the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast for 20 years. And now that there is a black mayor for the first time in St. Pete's, 53 mayors, 54 is a black man. Now we're going to change. Now, the rationale was something like, well, we didn't want to confuse constituents. Man became the mayor. I'm just saying the timing. The timing says it all. There's too much changing this with our local politics. And pay attention. Pay attention. Are going to that you just don't have time to fully see through. We have a new mayor coming in January of 20. In the last 30 some odd days of an administration, this significant of a decision would be made, be sworn in, come in and say, we're going to vote for that. And the process start. That's very well possible. Will it, instead of waiting, this current sitting mayor wanted it to be known that Midtown was his choice. Out of Midtown and Sugar Hill, Midtown was his choice. And his rationale and the statements that I read were about 30 some odd days. What the Rays negotiate with the mayor and the city council are not. All right. Look, I'm just saying I don't know. The deal itself just reeks. It just reeks of how St. Pete has been growing, how St. Pete has been moving. That is what's happening here. African American equity is an afterthought. I've looked at the two deals, and it's why when I was on the campaign who were going to work on, that was all built into the deal. But hold on, I think, and I have a quote. Let me see. This quote. This guy said, "Our Creekside proposal is defined by two intersecting green bands, y'all. The rebuilding of Booker Creek into a verdant natural environment and social destination. And the Greenway, a continuous series of parks and open spaces that tumble diagonally across the site, connecting all to the surrounding neighborhoods." That is their goal. That is their objective. And we've had advocates talking to the government and developers alike the entire time about the history of the gas plant neighborhood. People have been vocal the entire time about what took place, who was displaced, and the promises that were made and never fulfilled. And it's the fake hype. That's why I use that example. Don't call it rain. Call it what it is. The city's developing without us. the plans for this new site, this new trop site under Midtown's lens, y'all. A hotel, a conference center, some businesses, 6,000 to 8,000 homes, with 1,000 to 1,600 of them being workforce affordable housing. Now, for y'all who don't know, when you see something that says workforce affordable housing, it's not finna be affordable. It's not. It's not finna be affordable, because we are being played with these metrics. The average median income metric. That was one of the most surprising things on the campaign trail to have to really keep talking about, is the fact that they use this AMI number, right, to say that the average median income in St. Pete is $80,000. So workforce housing should be for people who make $60,000, $70,000, $55,000. There are people who have been teaching for 3 years, teaching your kids, who don't make that much. There are police officers who are coming in barely making that much. I mean, when we look at the society that we actually live in, y'all, versus the one that is building up around us, this promise of 1,000 to 1,600 workforce homes, it's not promising. And it's the only thing that I see that is related to equity at all. A bunch of people are going to get rich from this trop redevelopment. Make no mistake about it. This is going to be at least a 10-year plan. It's going to cost the company, they said, anywhere from $2.7 to $3.8 billion. It's going to cost a lot of money. Anytime somebody's investing that much money, they're not just going to make their money back. They're going to make their money back plus some. And so a bunch of people are going to get rich. I say that to say all eyes are going to be on our mayor-elect to see, January 2022 and beyond is going to be interesting. There's a lot going on in December. How we doing on time? There's a lot going on in December here in St. Pete. So, make sure you're out, man. There's a lot of Christmas lights going up, Christmas shows, Christmas parties. The Saturday morning shop is tomorrow morning. That's going to be hot. Start your day though with breakfast on the Deuces. Breakfast on the Deuces is going to be at 8 a.m. every first Saturday. They're cooking up breakfast for you guys. So get out tomorrow. The weather's going to be great. It's December. Get a jump on that Christmas stuff. My birthday's this month, so I'm turned up every December beyond Christmas. But be extra careful out here, y'all, because murders continue to tick up. Murders continue to tick up in the city of St. Pete. If you notice, they've stopped putting the numbers in the news. Your Tampa Bay Times and Creative Loafing and Catalyst. They're not talking about the numbers anymore. But it's something like 33, 34 lives have been taken this year from guns in our city alone. So be safe out here. 'Tis the season for love, patience, kindness, forgiveness, gratitude, all of those things. And let's not lose another life unnecessarily, because it's getting scary out here. It's getting scary. But that's on a local tip. State-wise, it's getting scary. That's a good segue, man. I don't know if y'all have been paying attention, but Mayor General, that's the next thing I want to talk about, man. Ron DeSantis is out here pushing the limits of the 10th Amendment to its extremes. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but you need to pay attention. He has put forth a budget that is authorizing a secondary paramilitary force in the state of Florida, the Florida State Guard. Now, granted, there are other states that have a state guard, and Florida would become, I think, like the 23rd or 24th state to do that. But the scary part is under a governor like DeSantis, who has shown that his will is going to persist. This military would operate under his command and not under federal command. So when we talk about a secondary paramilitary force, remember, we are a former Confederate state. This should frighten you. I mean, I looked at the budget. It's like $85 million proposed to build 4 armories, Homestead, Gainesville, up over by Cocoa Beach, and Miramar. So it all seems to be these West and South Coast communities, maybe in between some of these wealthier counties, where he's looking to house 1,500 troops at each of these bases. Now, he says this about preventing drugs from coming into the state and protecting the border. And that very well may be true. But politics, y'all, it's like Halloween. You know, you got to look under the mask. This is the same governor that passed House Bill 1. I hate to see an unruly situation where we have military force at this governor's control. And not one of the president. That's scary. We have a governor's election coming up this year. And I say that to say, let's think about getting this guy out of here. Charlie Crist is running. He's running for governor again. He served as Florida's, I think it was 49th governor. He served before. And he's trying to dethrone DeSantis. Charlie has been a progressive. He'll be running as a Democrat this time. He's been a progressive since he switched parties. And his biggest promise so far is to legalize marijuana. Now, this is something to vote for the man for. Because think about not only the retro application to the criminal justice system, and how many lives that have been burdened over stupid, simple marijuana charges that will kind of be restored. Remove that scarlet letter so you don't have to check that stupid box to say you've been prosecuted for something like this. How many people would come home from jail, right? If you have a governor who is legalizing this drug that is legal now in more than 20 states in the United States of America. But beyond the legal part, think about what it would do for the economy. I've talked before about living in Denver and, living there when marijuana switched from just being medical to becoming recreational, and the boom, people were getting money back on their tax returns because of the economic boom this industry brought to the entire state, from grows to dispensaries, to the product manufacturers, to those who are looking to provide services, various services. I mean, you're opening the state up. And not to mention, we live in Florida, one of the most tropical areas in the United States. Best on the East Coast by far. I don't know. I feel like it's a no-brainer. So look out for that. You know, you're going to see more stuff coming from Charlie Crist. But the state politics is huge, y'all. The state politics is huge. You have things like redistricting. Redistricting is coming. It's coming here to St. Pete. It's coming to the county. It's coming to the state, the federal. And this is the importance of the census. If y'all remember, in 2020 last year, there was like a weird like last minute push. I did not like that at all. I feel like they should have started pushing for that like a year before, but that's neither here nor there. The census is too important. This is the process that has been used to handicap us politically. And y'all have to understand that, like, this is the meat and potatoes of disenfranchisement. The laws are the laws, right? But when it comes to disenfranchisement, this is how the system is set against our it's an uneven race from the beginning. Florida leans Republican because of how the lines are drawn. This is also known as gerrymandering, right? So take Representative Rayner's district. We're talking about state politics still, y'all. And Rep Rayner is still our state rep in the Florida House. And we've talked about it on this show before. Her district is literally cut through 4 counties. And it's cut strategically to capture the black populations. So her district is cut all of South St. Pete. It cuts down through Manatee County and picks up all of East Bradenton, where my grandma and so many of my family members live. It goes all the way down to Sarasota, Newtown, Sarasota, where my church is, another black community, and grabs 4 precincts over in Ruskin just to spread the wealth. It doesn't matter if we vote for the most righteous, progressive person, y'all. We have one share between us all. How does something like that happen? Gerrymandering. This whole process of redistricting that I'm talking about. So shout out to Rep Rayner. Good luck to her. She's looking to advance to the U.S. Congress, to get out of Florida politics and to get into national politics. She is running and really kind of getting into the real leg of the campaign. She'll be at Pia's Trattoria this Sunday at 1. So if you're out 1 o'clock, look it up on Facebook. Go holler at Rep Rayner and let her know that you are going to support her this coming election. But the more that we have fair districting, redistricting, the more honest and more well-balanced representation we'll actually have in these chambers. So make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you actually go vote anytime that the polls are open. Try and understand and learn from different perspectives. Don't stick yourself in an echo chamber. Stomach enough to go sit and listen to what these folks are talking about. And pay attention. There's that old adage about the frog in the boiling water. You might have heard of it. If you turn it up just 1 temperature at a time, you know what I mean? One degree at a time, that the frog will stay in the hot water and get boiled to death because it doesn't realize that the water is getting so hot that it's going to boil it to death. And by the time it realizes it's paralyzed, it can't hop out. I say that to say that the temperature is going up every day in America, in the state, in the city. And you have to understand state and local politics because they determine far more of your life than our federal. But the federal is still important. So I'm going to spend these last 10 minutes or so here talking about our invaluable federal government. The Omicron variant is here, y'all. Omicron. I was on Twitter earlier this week when Omarion started trending, and y'all are some fools for calling this the Omarion variant. And now, I have to restrain myself in professional settings to not call it the Omarion variant, but it's the Omicron, and it's here. And so, national outbreaks and stuff like that, things that cross state lines become federal issues. The federal government, that's why I said Ron DeSantis is pushing the limits of the 10th Amendment, right? Because the 10th Amendment allows for dual federalism, right? That the state has powers that are reserved for it, that the federal government can't entrench on, but that the federal government also has powers that are limited to the Constitution. Very boring political talk there. But once you understand it, you realize that management of a pandemic falls on the shoulders of both the state and the federal, but the federal government has to come up with these responses. This Omicron variant, so many questions. Will the vaccine stand up to it? Will those who have been previously immune be? We just don't know. We're all living through the same trial period at the same time, and it's just impossible to tell. So, there are a lot of unknown variables, but understand that this is definitely a federal issue. Pay attention to what the federal government is going to do. But it's interesting. Anything that crosses state lines becomes a federal issue. Cue Kyle Rittenhouse. Right? Want to touch on this because Rittenhouse had a federal trial. He had a federal trial because he crossed state lines. If he was from the state, it would have been in state court, like Ahmaud Arbery's killer faced a state judge. But when you cross a state line and you get a federal trial, well, now you're sitting in front of a federal, and this is where your federal politics are important, right? When you do pick the president, because the president picks the judges. I think Donald Trump elected somewhere like 200, or selected somewhere like 200 and almost 230 federal judges in 4 years. The same amount at the appellate level, one shy of Obama. Obama was in office for 8 years and appointed 53 appellate judges. Trump was in office for 4 years and appointed 52. This shapes the landscape for our judiciary. It's also the importance of Congress, more particularly the Senate. I say that because Val Demings is challenging Marco Rubio, and we need to get Marco Rubio out of here. Pay attention. Pay attention. Marco Rubio has spent the last 6 years being a flippy floppy, tried to run for president, failed, no allegiance to the people senator. And here we have a confident, cognizant, and capable U.S. House Representative in Val Demings. She served us faithfully in the House. Going to move to the Senate. Pay attention. That's coming up. Because your Senate confirms your judges. So when you have a judge, in this case, with so many ties to Donald Trump and Trump support, his ringtone, this, that, and the other, unpack the politics when you look at the verdict. Unpack it. I mean, think about, okay, Kyle, okay, and I'm gonna finish the show talking about culture and culture in America, because I feel like we are in 2021 as it relates to politics. Culture is what American racism has boiled down to, right? It's all boiled down to what makes you ignorant, what makes you American, right? If you analyze the different social elements, they correlate so well with some of those outlooks that my parents faced, with what makes you black, what makes you a Negro, right? What makes you suitable for society and what makes you unsuitable. And a lot of times, too many times, blackness equates to unsuitable. Not my perspective. It's how America's culture wars have laid the lines. I'm just analyzing it. I'm just looking at it. 60 years ago, this was law. 60 years ain't that much time. It's just, it seems like a long time. If I had to do 60 years in prison, or, spent 60 years on a job or in a marriage, then yeah, it seems like a long time. But in the grand scheme of human beings, man, 60 years was like yesterday. There are a bunch of people who were still alive, who were alive 60 years ago. Bunch of them. And their outlooks, their custom, their culture was predicated on a system of segregation, on a system of discrimination, of racism. We hear the stories all the time, and we can't pretend like they don't exist. Full circle, I'm going to bring this back. So when you have a black mayor and you have all of these things that are ordinarily the process changing in the same time that you're having this groundbreaking achievement, so to speak. Come on, man. The parallels are frightening. They're uncanny, and it's undeniable. It's there. If you analyze these things that are happening, man, this white boy crossed state lines with his mama, with gun tucked and his mama pushing the wheel. And the thing is, he didn't kill no black people. He killed 2 white men. This white boy crossed state lines with his mama driving him, gunned down 2 white men, boo-hoo cried on the nation's television, and was found not guilty. Week later, got a job offer from a U.S. congressman, a shamed one, in Matt Gaetz, but met with the president, met with the former president of the United States, and is getting all type of hype and notoriety because of what he did. What does that say to me? It clearly points back to the culture wars, y'all. If you are going to stand with these Negroes, it reminds me of the white freedom fighters who got hung just the same, who went missing. Those who were taking the bus rides, the freedom buses, going to register people to vote in the 1930s, 1940s, going missing. White folks. Nobody shed a tear for them in those states who was in power. They didn't even investigate their deaths. That's what it reminds me of when this young white boy can cross state lines with parental consent, go murder 2 people in some kind of heroic vigilante type style, and then meet with the president. Speaking of the president, last 2 minutes, Kamala's been too quiet for my liking. I want to see more Kamala. I want to hear more from Kamala. Folks don't even know, last month, Kamala was sworn in for an hour and 48 minutes while President Joe Biden underwent surgery. Here we are having a monumental moment. A woman has never been sworn in for president temporarily. And here she was having the whole power at her fingertips for an hour and a half. Biden, the folks are looking for more. I had this whole rant planned. I'm running short here on time. About how power is disseminating in America, man. And how, look, I'm a Democrat, man. So I want Democrats to win. But this is why we are losing, Democrats. The money doesn't fall on our side. These folks who push media narratives and news narratives, these folks who control the numbers on the stock market, these folks who are buying up all the algorithms and buying up all of our digital data, they are dominating the conversation on religion, on patriotism, on family values. And we're over here talking about what? Doing what for the people? Infrastructure? Come on, man. So the people are looking for more. And I got more to talk about, but we're back, baby. The political hour is here. Shout out to powerplugradio.com. Make sure you are tuning in. My boy MK is going to be on later on tonight. I'm excited about that. MK on a Friday nights. Great content coming from powerplugradio.com, a jewel in the community. But this is the political hour. We are back in business, baby. So I'm Mhariel Summers. I will be here with you next Friday. But until then, y'all stay good. Y'all stay safe. Have a good weekend.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.